Churches have to stay closed. That's the word from President Cyril Ramaphosa. He announced the latest measures last night. Now, some church leaders have been unhappy about the ban on gatherings, saying that they were not consulted. We're now joined by the ACDP's leader, Kenneth Meshoe. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So you, of course, are one of those people not happy with this decision, not allowing churches to gather. Why?
Shahana, I must start by saying we are all concerned about the increasing infections and the numbers that are always increasing. We are all concerned about that. Now, in June, I think between the 1st June to September, we had level 3 lockdown, and the churches were allowed to have maximum 50 people in a meeting. And that went well because churches that we know of observed all the protocols. There was social distance, there was sanitizing, they were taking registers, temperatures, had masks on. And we never heard a report that because churches were not complying and people were getting infected among those 50, that is going to be stopped. Now, when this issue was raised, one of the concerns was if there was no complaint that there was something wrong that churches were doing, why was there no communication? All right, if somebody's trying to do right and they make a mistake in the process, I think the wise thing to do and the correct thing to do is to say, even though you are making attempts, but at the same time, there are mistakes that you are making that should be corrected. Yeah. Now, that has never come out. So that's the first thing that churches are not happy about. Secondly, when you look at gyms and the cinemas that are allowed together to meet, now you know that particularly with gyms, people perspire, people breathe heavily, and you know that they cannot do their workouts with their masks on. You look at people playing rugby, people playing soccer, and other sports. You don't use the mask. So what I'm trying to say, if people are allowed to be in gym and they're sweating and they're more than 50, the question is, why are churches not allowed to meet if they are meeting all the protocols?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing people are saying, as you know, that I was in Sebokeng yesterday.
Yeah,
people are saying
Mr.
we
Meshoe,
want fairness.
I want to get to Sebokeng just in a bit, but I want to continue with what you're saying about the president not consulting. Last night he said research has identified several risks that arise from religious services and other gatherings. These include the risks associated with enclosed spaces, large groups, close proximity to others, staying for a long time in one place, loud talking and singing. So he says that is the research he's using to make this decision not to allow religious gatherings to continue. So you're not satisfied with that either, because this is research that the president is quoting.
Rohana, if people are told that you can meet 50 of you, observe protocol, and they are not told there's something wrong they are making, we are saying the correct thing should have been for the president or his representatives to say, hey, churches, while we know that you have made attempts, this and this is not correct. So the whole complaint that is coming out is based on lack of communication. Lack of communication is the key. So even those who are protesting about lack of communication, they're saying when the government speaks about consulting the religious sector, they are talking about the SACC, and yet there are many churches that are not affiliated to the South African Council of Churches. Yeah. So what people are pleading for is let there be communication between the office of the president and the churches.
Yeah, but surely you can't expect the president to be consulting with every group in the country about every single decision that he makes, right? The South African Council of Churches does represent a large group of churches in South Africa. He's also included the Muslim Judicial Council and other religious organizations with regards to this consultation. But it would be impossible for any president in any country to hold mass consultations about the way forward, because ultimately this is about saving lives, and churches and gatherings, religious gatherings, is a place where people do get infected.
While I agree with you, Shah, you must understand that it is not the first time we talk about consultation. In the past, when consultations were taking place, if you look at the issue of land, maybe as an example, you look at the issue that affects churches also. People have been saying we were consulted, we were informed, but this time we are not consulted. So a precedent has been set, but now it's like it's being ignored. That's where the problem comes in. So let's improve, let government improve their communication, and I'm sure people will be satisfied.
So let's talk about Sebokeng now, because you were there yesterday after those religious leaders were arrested for gathering on Sunday. I just want to get clarity on something you might have said about the virus actually spreading faster because churches are not able to gather to pray against it. Is that the case?
No. One of the things I said is that when things becomes more difficult, when the virus spreads even much quicker than we anticipated, one of the best things that we Christians believe can be done and should be done is to pray and say, Lord, help us. Not to say there's the virus spreading further because churches have been closed. We are saying, let churches be allowed to pray, because you know that churches are praying for the government. Churches are praying for health workers. Churches are praying for patients. Churches are praying for many other things. So when people are given an opportunity to come together to pray, I see that as something very positive for any society.
Yeah. The risks associated, though, with those gatherings, Mr. Meshoe, as a leader of a political party in this country who's supposed to uphold the Constitution, who's supposed to be responsible with things you say, going to Sebokeng yesterday, encouraging the fact that these people were not consulted and that churches should remain open. Was that the right move, given your position?
No. I think you have it wrong when you say going there to say the people were not consulted. I went there to listen. So I'm telling you what people are saying. I'm telling you what the pastors in Sebokeng said. They said they were not consulted. I did not go to them and say to them, you were not consulted. They told me they were not consulted, and that's what I'm telling you now.
Yeah. But you were on TV yesterday basically agreeing with them, because it looked like you were agreeing with them.
Okay, what I agreed with is that they said they have used every avenue at their disposal to try and communicate with government. They have sent letters, they have sent emails, they have made phone calls. Now, majority of South Africans that have called government offices, they will tell you that many times their calls go unanswered. And again, many times you write an email, you send an email, they say to you, we'll come back to you, and that is the last time you have heard from whoever said to you, we'll come back to you. It happens even many times, even to members of parliament. You are frustrated because you are expecting an answer that is not forthcoming. So now, the people said, we have tried every avenue. Out of frustration, we wanted to use the media so that through the media, government would hear what I'm saying. So I said, if you wanted government to hear what you're saying and you decided the media is the last resort, I think it was a step in the right direction, because the government has to communicate with these people. Citizens must communicate with their government. Now, when they say nobody listens to us, nobody is responding, they are closing their ears and we are not sure whether they hear us or not. They have received communication, but they are not responding. So out of frustration, the last thing we are attempting now is to speak to the media, because the media obviously all the time has government's ear.
Yeah, they could have just done that by going to the media instead of gathering illegally. But I have to leave it right there. Thank you for your time. ACDP leader Kenneth Meshoe.